Elizabeth Audencream.
This one's wife. Nigeria, Colombia, and now Ukraine. But the UK scares us. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Harry has been in court this week. He has launched an appeal which has been heard over 2 days for the purpose of seeking to overturn the refusal to have taxpayer-funded security for him and his family when he visits the United Kingdom. This one's wife will want this, even though, as I have explained, her narcissism is likely to keep away from the UK because it sees the royal family, the media, and the general public as a significant threat to her need for control. The grandiosity of this narcissist is such that she likes the idea of having security because it makes her look important. She essentially can triangulate people with the fact that she's got bodyguards and blacked-out SUVs, etc., which aids with the assertion of control and the drawing of fuel. And because the fact that she is greedy and tight-fisted, she doesn't want to pay for it itself, and because of her sense of entitlement, she expects that it's paid for by the British taxpayers. It once again demonstrates her hypocrisy, whereby having roundly dumped on the UK monarchy, its people, and its way of life, she then expects them to pay for her should she ever deign to visit the country that she turned her back on. Unsurprisingly, this does not impress many people, and Harry's crusade in this regard has been met with considerable disapproval. One of the things that he's repeatedly spoken about is his concerns about harm coming to his family. In one respect, that is fair enough. As a loving father and husband, he wants to ensure that his family is protected. But the problem is that he bleats about this, but then goes to places such as Nigeria and Colombia, where he needs significant security, which is then provided presumably by the relevant nation at considerable expense when that money could be put to better uses, and is actual fact going to places which are far less stable than the United Kingdom, and yet doesn't complain about feeling unsafe there. This is because the actual fact is that the utilisation of the security is something for him and his wife to cock a snook at with regard to the United Kingdom and also to his father, because he expects that his father should be involved in this. This is why Charles has stayed out of the way. To my mind, it's no coincidence that he ensured that he and Queen Camilla were in Italy so that they didn't have to have any involvement with Harry, but moreover, that they could maintain that they weren't around when the court case was taking place to exhibit that there was no undue influence brought to bear, something that might be suggested by certain individuals. Accordingly, we have Harry and his wife that are perfectly happy to go to Nigeria, perfectly happy to go to Colombia, both of which have greater security risks than the United Kingdom, and then, having only just been in court complaining about the fact that he isn't getting taxpayer-funded security, what does old dimwit do? He buggers off to Ukraine. Yep. He enters a war zone. Now, he hasn't walked into the front, but he's still in an area that is far less safe than the United Kingdom, and yet he complains about the necessity of security, but then engages in activity such as this. Peter Chappell from The Times reports, Prince Harry has made a surprise visit to Ukraine, where he met with war victims as part of his work supporting wounded veterans. Harry visited the Superhuman Centre, an orthopaedic clinic in Lviv that treats and rehabilitates wounded military personnel and civilians. The centre provides prosthetics, reconstructive surgery, and psychological help for those in need. The Duke of Sussex, who spent a decade in the army, founded, well he didn't, but they always write this, the Invictus Games in 2014 to offer wounded veterans the challenge of competing in sports events similar to the Paralympics. A contingent of veterans from the Games Foundation accompanied him on the trip. Andriy Stavnitsa founder of Superhumans, said that the visit had been precipitated by a meeting between Harry and members of the Superhumans team during the Invictus Games in Canada in February. They presented the prince with a bracelet bearing the rehabilitation centre's motto, "He who saves one life saves the whole world." Stavitsna and Harry had spent a few hours in Lviv meeting Ukrainians who had taken part in the recent games and was shown around the Superhuman Centre. He was accompanied by British athletes who had participated in Invictus over the past decade. He is incredibly responsive and emotionally generous, no royal rituals, Stavitsna said. He hugged everyone. He found a compliment for everyone. He went through the tour of the centre attentively and with genuine interest. It's notable how he behaves so differently when he's away from the influence of this one's wife. According to Stavnitsa, Harry said, "This is my first visit to Ukraine and definitely not the last. To come here to the Superhuman Centre and to see the incredible, amazing rehabilitation and care that is provided here under one purpose-built roof is just amazing." The Duke's visit to the area in western Ukraine that has frequently been targeted with Russian missiles was not revealed until after he was out of the country. Accordingly, Harry enters a war zone, not the front, but an area that has been targeted by missiles, whilst complaining about his security in the United Kingdom, that, presumably, legions of tomato-wielding middle-aged white women are far more frightening than missiles raining down on you from the Russians. What is interesting is the reactions to this visit to Ukraine, which appear below the line. And there is a very noticeable split. On the one hand, you have David Bramner writing, "I'm not in the habit of respecting Harry at the moment, but credit where credit is due. This is a return to the man I once did respect. Well done, Harry." James Butler, "Why is this reported? I thought he was worried about his security." John Hold, "Smacks of a cynical PR stunt." A. Harper, "Good lad, Harry. Supporting veterans is the way back into people's affection." I. Sarsfield writes, "Yes, let's hope so." Colin Trazer, "Well done, Harry. This is your role, and to do it so well. Terrific stuff. Move on now from this. Be yourself." P.S. Smith, "An ex-soldier paying his respects to his brethren. Good job, Harry." M. Billingham, "It's a good and decent thing. I'm glad he turns out better than his reported image." B. Smith, "Well done, Harry. A proper prince who does much good." Martin Smith, "Good on him." Peter Findlay, "Go home to the mansion servants and tricky wife. You've lost all your credit long ago." Graham Gibson, "Many spiteful comments here. Give him a break. Harry set up Invictus in 2014. He met this one's wife in 2016. He is Diana's son." Chris Forbes, "Did he have to have a photo taken for the international newspapers?" Andy Davidson, "Why are so many people so nasty about my favourite royal? He's the only normal member of that dysfunctional family." Enhua, "Gingin another publicity stunt for himself." Daniel Martin, not that one, "How is this helpful? Just a massive inconvenience to Ukraine. They have more important things to worry about than hosting some massive over-ego talentless Z-less celeb. The sheer naked opportunism of this is so pathetic." John Ledwidge, "The hypocrisy Harry visits war victims, and such visit is made known to the world. Such undiluted hypocrisy. And he betrays his family, friends and country on a daily basis for money." Edward Kay, "Haven't they suffered enough?" Mark Vincent, "Give me strength, Harry Windsor, whining in our courts about your perceived lack of security due to your so-called status, and then off you pop to Ukraine using charitable funds to do so, all for a bit of publicity and very little apparent concern for security." So as you've heard, and there are hundreds of comments in a similar vein, there are those that praise Harry for doing this, that they see this is the Harry that they know and liked, that this is his bag, and that is what he's good at, and that he should do this, notably away from his wife. And there are others that now have had their favour for Harry exhausted, that they just see this as a cynical PR exercise. What do you think? Do you think Harry's a hypocrite for doing this? That he talks about security, yet there he is in Colombia, in Nigeria, and now Ukraine? Or do you think he's doing some actual good with such visits? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.